What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name is Kevin, and we're going to go over some set 7 cards from Archazia's Island, the new Lorcana set coming to us in March. Before we start off, though, like, comment, and subscribe if you're a Lorcana Goon, because it does support the channel, and we even got links in the description below if you want to support us even more. But a lot of cards have been getting revealed in the last couple days, so let's just hop into this with L'Aqua Memoria, which is actually a card right here. We're on LorcanaPlayer.com, by the way. Huge shout out to them, because they've been doing a very good job of putting all the cards that have been announced on this website, but also putting the translations. Look at the top 4 cards of chosen player's deck. Put one on top of the deck and the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So not too good, actually not my favorite card. Really all this is doing is looking at either player's deck, at the opponent's or your deck, and kind of rearranging the order. Doesn't draw a card or also doesn't necessarily net you any advantage, so it's not my favorite card off the top of my head, and it isn't an inkable in Sapphire. So there's already a lot of Sapphire and inkables, and I don't think this is one that I would want to play personally, but very interesting to be able to look at your opponent's top deck, right? Next up, we have Pete the Space Pirate. Excuse the quality on some of these pictures, again, huge shout out to Lorcana Player for having them on the website, but we are getting the pictures from some of these reveals. But yeah, so this is a Pete, a Space Pirate Floodborn dual ink card. He is Emerald and Steel, 6 cost inkable. Pretty cool. He got a peg leg and an iron arm is what it's looking like. Looks pretty awesome to me. 5 strength. 5 willpower, can quest for 2. He's a shift 4, so we've been seeing a lot of Pete reveals in this set. A couple other Petes have been announced, and we also have the Steel Pete, the games referee, which is pretty awesome, right? If you're already playing Pete in your deck, then on turn 3 you're playing Pete on turn 3 to negate any actions the next turn, and then on turn 4 you can shift into this Pete, right? And has this extra ability that's really good against Amber Steel songs or really any song deck in the meta. While this character is exerted, opposing characters can't exert to sing songs, and your pirate characters gain resist +1. So extra pirate synergy there. Maybe you want to combo this off with a pirate deck that you guys have been playing in your deck. If you're an Emerald, if you're a Steel player in general, Emerald Steel is probably calling your name, especially because you could play Sami in that deck. Maybe it's the return of Bucky. A lot of shift characters coming out in this set, and useful ones, as you can tell, because this is just going to turn off the ability for the opponent to sing cards. So any Amber Steel players out there, I'm sorry, your time might be over once this Pete comes into play. We got Mulan, the Imperial General. This is a 7 cost inkable Mulan character. Ruby and Steel ink, 5 strength, 6 willpower. She's a shift 5, princess, hero, floodborn per usual, has evasive, which is very strong against the contending Maui sharks nowadays. 2 lore, that's a nice quest right there, 2 lore. Whenever this character challenges another character, your other characters gain this ability. This character can challenge readied characters this turn. That is pretty awesome. So if you ever wanted to challenge ward characters, Ruby Steel might be the deck to do it now. Being able to shift this Mulan is pretty nice too. There's some decent Mulan targets already in the meta that people have been utilizing in Ruby Sapphire decks, but you could also maybe start using them in Ruby Steel decks. I know we have some uninkable Mulans as well that cost 4 that have some good stats, but maybe they'll release some more Mulans in Ruby and the Steel package that'll make this shift just a little better. But I like this because it's looking like we're going to be able to just play a full Mulan deck in the future, right? If they release enough cards that have this support synergy like Mulan in Ruby and Steel, where you can shift multiple good shift targets, then this is going to be a threatening deck in my opinion. Here's another dual ink for you guys, a Ruby Amber King Candy Royal Racer. 4 cost uninkable, 2 strength, 2 willpower, quest for 2. Whenever one of your other racer characters is banished, each opponent chooses and banishes one of their characters. Not too bad. We don't know what other racers we're getting in the set, so I can't really say if this is a good or a bad card in the format, in the card pool. But I like the ability. I like this kind of this Prince Eric kind of ability that we have going on here, where if one of your racers is banished, then you can banish an extra character. This is cool because on your turn, if you have something like Vanellope Von Sweets, who has Rush in Ruby, you can crash into an opposing character, both of them get banished, and if this King Candy is on board, you get to banish an extra character. That's some extra removal, and it's like removal that can target anything, right? There's no stipulation of like a certain cost, like Brawl or like Madame Medusa with certain strength. It's just banish any character, so you can get some good value here. There's also a world where you can use like Teeth and Ambitions or Glimmer versus Glimmer and banish your own racer on your own, and then still trigger this King Candy ability. The biggest drawback is that he is uninkable, and and uninkable cards, man. You can, it makes the cards almost unplayable depending on how the meta's going. Just because, if you want to play a deck with cards like these, you have to develop an entire strategy around the ability to play some of these uninkables, But still an interesting card nonetheless. I want to see what more racer support we get. Here is a neat one. This is So Much to Give, an Amber Song. My Amber Steel players, just when I was talking down on the ability of the deck next format, we get revealed a pretty good song. I think a pretty good song. It's a 2-cost inkable, So Much to Give, a song from the movie Bolt. Draw a card. Chosen character gains bodyguard until the start of your turn. This is pretty cool. Imagine the ability to just sing this with Cinderella and give something bodyguard like Smee, or even something like Lawrence. Lawrence is overstated. Oftentimes, that 4 strength is going to be a really tough bodyguard to deal with. At least for that turn, if you want to keep questing with something like your Piglet, but you don't have a bodyguard character like Baloo or Donald Duck. So, I have been seeing some people play Baloo and Donald Duck in their Amber Steel lists to have some bodyguards. Maybe you just play this card. Maybe you just play this card so you give bodyguards to your characters instead, because it is a song. You can get it off of aerial, more aerial targets, which is really cool to see. Here we got Monsieur de Arc. This card was released. I think this is in French. The abilities right here. It's kind of like a mini Flavor Sham. It's I've come to collect. Whenever this character quests, you may banish chosen item of yours to draw a card. It's a 1-cost inkable character, 1 strength, 2 willpower. So on turn 1 you can play this card. If he survives, on turn 2 you can play a Popsicle, quest with this character, gain a lore, and then pop your Popsicle to draw 1 card. Obviously, it might not be the best play because on turn 2 you probably want to play a Tipo instead, or maybe that Popsicle wants to stay on board for Flavor Sham. You know what I mean? There is a world where you get to go sail and you have the extra ink and still go Popsicle draw. So that is some nice energy there, but not my favorite card so far. It's a mini Flavor Sham though, and honestly, maybe I'm underestimating that ability to have an extra Flavor Sham card in your Sapphire deck. We got some vanillas revealed today. This is Cash Kim, Ancient Ruler, a 3-cost inkable, 4 strength, 3 willpower for Amethyst. Not too shabby, just a character you can play on turn 3 that can contest a Lawrence now. Very nice. This one is really cute. I like this one. I want to make a deck around this, even though the card doesn't seem that good. This is Baymax's Charging Station, 3-cost inkable item that says whenever you play a Floaterborn character, if you use Shift to play them, you may draw a card. So we're seeing this new trend with this ability with Floodborn, where now they're adding the extra stipulation. You have to use Shift to generate the extra ability. It's no longer like Bucky and Blue Fairy whenever it happens, it triggers. I feel like Lorcana is like, you know what, Bucky was too good. We have to make them shift the ability to gain these extra triggers, right? It's a good card. If it didn't require Shift, if you could just play the Floodborn and draw a card, it would be a lot better. But it is a common. Every card is meant to be good, but this is really cool. I like seeing the Big Hero 6 lore expand even more in this set. Who knows? Maybe there's a world where you just make a combo deck with this and the new Baymax that can shift onto anything, because that means that they're going to be able to have a more consistent way to shift characters. Maybe they make even more universal shift characters than just that one Baymax. Sorry for the spoilers. We didn't even get to the Baymax yet. I'm working my way backwards, so that was like the newest reveals, and we're going backwards. We have Grunge, a cannon expert. He's a 2-cost emerald inkable character, 2 strength, 2 willpower. Whenever this character quests, you may pay 1 ink less for the next action you play this turn. Okay, not too shabby. So that means you play 4-cost actions on turn 3, depending on what color combination you're playing. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's not the best. To me, if you're playing maybe like Emerald Sapphire, you can play how far will go an extra turn earlier. But at that point, you're already ramping with Tipo or something. But maybe there's some good use case for this card in the future that I'm not really seeing right now. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have any combos or ideas with these new cards we're talking about, because they're just not clicking just yet, but I need to see the whole card pool and the whole set to really think about it. We got a new Kusco reveal. Shout out White Breezy and Lorcana After Dark for getting to reveal this card. This is Kusco, the Temporary Whale, a 5-cost uninkable character, 1 strength, 4 willpower. He quests for 2 and says once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may return chosen character, item, or location with cost 2 or less to the hand. Then that player draws a card. Ooh, that's a mouthful. That is a long effect. But basically what it's saying is you can play this in Blurple and do it multiple times, because it's any time you put a card into your inkwell, and then you get to trigger the ability to it's gain some tempo potentially. There's a world where you bounce the opposing characters at 2-cost or lower characters or locations even, and you can generate some extra tempo that way. Or there's also a world where you bounce back your snakes so you can have more bounce targets or something. Overall, it's not my favorite card. It is an inkable, like I was saying, the uninkable situation with some Lorcana cards makes them borderline unplayable. It is 1 strength and 4 willpower, so it's the perfect brawl target. And on turn 5, I feel like right now you want to play something like Maui, Elsa, something a little bit more impactful in Amethyst decks. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to have some cool synergy in the future with this. He's a king. Maybe there's a world where this is good too, though. But once again, shout out Kusco. Shout out Kusco enjoyers like White Breezy and Lorcana After Dark. Like I was saying, they're giving us more and more Petes in this set. We have Pete, the Pirate Scoundrel. He's a 1-cost inkable Pete, an Emerald card, so it synergizes perfectly with that new Emerald Steel dual ink Pete. 1 strength, 2 willpower. Whenever you play an action that isn't a song, you may banish chosen item. That's really cool. Emerald is gaining a lot of ways to get rid of items, so watch out, Sapphire players. You know, if you're looking into playing Ruby Sapphire, Sapphire Steel maybe, the Emerald decks are going to have some item removal ready to go for you. And it's about time, because I feel like a lot of decks don't have item removal outside of Steel, is what it feels like. Consistent item removal anyways. I like the 1-drop Clarabelle a lot because that gave us some item removal. However, that wasn't until the turn 3, because you have to basically pay 3 ink to use that ability. There's a world where on turn 2 you can play this Pete and then pay another ink to play an action that isn't a song and banish an item on turn 2, because there's no extra cost to banish this item. I like that. I like that ability. So it's basically a free ability if you have actions in your deck. Obviously, how many 1-cost actions are you really going to play with this in the early game? But there is a world where you want this in your deck just to have a good shift Pete target, and then it does trigger this ability in the late game. Fire the Cannons is one of those action cards that you can play in the early game to trigger this very soon against something like Sapphire. Speaking of items, we have Unconventional Tool, a 1-cost inkable item that says when this item is banished, you may pay 2 ink less for the next item you play this turn. Not my favorite. I guess you can play Flavor Sham and play a Lucky Dime on turn 5 with 5 ink instead, but overall, nothing too scary here for the item decks. But there's a lot of Sapphire support though. We're not there yet. We're gonna go over Wake Up Alice. This is an Emerald 1-cost action card. So this also synergizes with that Pete. So instead of Fire the Cannons, which is uninkable, you could also just play Wake Up Alice instead potentially, which says return chosen damaged character to their player's hand. Kind of hard to pull off in the early game usually, but in the late game, mid game, it's just gonna bounce back anything. There's a world where you can bounce back a 9-cost character and just gain a bunch of tempo because your 1-cost action removed a 9-cost character from the board. And for whatever reason, if your locals is full of people playing Amber Ruby or something like that, like red yellow with Rapunzels and Mother Gothels, and this is a very good card against that deck. I feel like a lot of Amethyst players are kind of left out of the party right now. You know, we haven't gotten too many good cards. This is one that I think has some potential though. It's Magical Maneuvers, a 2-cost action. Return chosen character of yours to your hand. Exert chosen character. So you can pick any character of yours. So you can bounce back a rabbit, a goat, you know, and generate some extra value that way. And then you get to exert a chosen opposing character or even your own character. For whatever reason, if you want to exert your genie, your 7-cost genie, you know, that effect to be able to stop your opponent from doing some stuff, I believe from questing, if I'm not mistaken or something, then you can trigger it this way. But the best way is probably to exert the opposing character so you get a free trade later, or just something that your opponent wasn't necessarily expecting. But it is an inkable card, but it's not something that's gonna like give you a draw, unfortunately, like a draw card, which would be really cool. But it's decent. It's decent. We have this Robin Hood Sapphire card, a 3-cost inkable 3/3 with support. Nothing too shabby there. I do like the flavor text though. There's been a heap of legends and tales about Robin Hood, all different too, and it's Alan Adale. This one is Card Soldier, the Royal Troops, and this translation is take charge. While a damaged character is in play, this character receives +2 strength. So if you have a damaged character in play, like we were talking about Mother Gothel, Mulan, this character becomes a 1-cost 3 strength 2 willpower character. Not too shabby. You can play it on turn 1, then turn 2 play Mother Gothel, and then bam, this character has 3 strength now, and suddenly he'll contest a Cinderella. So if you are playing that strategy of like damaged characters in Ruby, then that might have a decent matchup against an opposing Cinderella when you're going on the draw. Some more vanillas for you. Tanana, the Tribal Elder, 4-cost inkable, 4 strength, 4 willpower, and quest for 1. Nothing too crazy there, but not too shabby either. Now we got some Ruby Amethyst support, but it's not the best, unfortunately. This is Madame Medusa, the Diamonds Lover. The translation is search the swamp. Whenever this character quests, you may choose another of your characters and deal 2 damage to them. If you do, chosen player places the first 3 cards to their deck into their discard pile. Not my favorite. I was looking forward to this ability when I read the first half. I was like, ooh, you know, we get to deal damage to our characters, maybe my own Diablo or something. But then I read the second half and I thought, what? Just milling, you know, milling cards from the deck to the discard pile. It's not the strategy, in my opinion, for Ruby Amethyst. For all you Doge enjoyers, we have Pepper, the quick-thinking puppy. Whenever one of your puppy characters is banished, you may put that card into your inkwell face down and exert it. Some extra ink ramp for you puppy players out there. It's a 3-cost inkable 2/2 character that can quest for 1. But there's a variety of puppy synergy going on in this set. We have Canine Crunchies. This is a amber item, 1 cost inkable that says your puppy characters gain +1 willpower, which is not too shabby because they come in as a 2 strength 3 willpower character. So then they would have 2 strength 4 willpower if you set this up in the for turn 1. Next up we have Perdita. This is a blue yellow dual ink card, amber sapphire, a 4 cost inkable, 1 strength 4 willpower that can quest for 2. Has 2 abilities and is a storyborn hero. So this can synergize in a lot of your aggro hero decks that you guys have been playing. I've been seeing a lot of the yellow blue hero deck going around. It has an ability that says whenever this character quests, you pay 2 less for the next puppy character you play this turn. Basically lets you play a puppy from your hand for free if you quested with this character. And then it has another ability that says don't be afraid, your puppy characters gain ward. So a little bit of an easier way to guarantee that they'll quest, right? Because they have ward, so they can't be targeted. We have a new Aurora card, the Awaking Beauty, a 3 cost inkable, 1 strength 4 willpower amber card. Correct me if I'm wrong, is this Aurora's first amber card? Also, it's a legendary, so I can't wait to see if they give us an enchanted version of this card. Pretty cool. A Singer 5 has an ability that says whenever you remove 1 or more damage from a character, ready this character. She can't quest or challenge for the rest of the turn, and she can quest for 2. So in my opinion, this isn't the best card because there's not a lot of healing synergy right now in the meta. I want to say the only cards that really do heal like that are Rapunzel gifted with healing, and outside of that, and there's not too much that's removing or I guess healing characters in the meta actively. Anyways, that could always change. Don't get me wrong. I guess Popsicle also works, right? But I feel like you're not really playing Popsicle with this type of strategy, with the Singer strategy, anyways. Some more legendaries for you guys. Ratigan, the Nefarious Criminal, a legendary 4 inkable character, 3 strength, 3 willpower that says whenever you play an action while this character is exerted, gain 1 lore. I like this. I do believe if you sing friends on the other side with this character, you will gain that lore as well. It's kind of cool. It's another card that kind of reacts like Maui Half Shark, where anytime you play an action, you gain a lore. So my fellow Ruby Amethyst Burn enjoyers, we might have some more cards to play in our deck. However, this card does have to be exerted, meaning that you have to play it on turn 4. It has to survive that turn, and then on turn 5 you can exert it to get that ability. However, it would be kind of cool if you combo this off into maybe a red-blue ramp deck. Turn 2 Tipo, turn 3 Ratigan, so that you can go into How Far I'll Go and start gaining lore that way. So, man, Ruby Sapphire just seems like it's getting better and better. This is so far my favorite card announced in the set, not only for its artwork, but for its insane ability, this new mechanic in Lorcana, Universal Shift. So this is Baymax, the giant robot, an emerald sapphire dual ink character. It's a 6-cost inkable, 5 strength, 5 willpower that says Universal Shift 4. You may pay 4 ink to play this on top of any one of your characters. Any character. You can put this on a Goons. You can put this on a Flynn Rider, on a Robin Hood, on a Mushu, on a hero, on anything. And it has an ability that says when you play this character, if you use Shift to play him, remove all damage from him. A very simple ability. Nothing too crazy in my opinion. I feel like this is a way to heal any of your damaged characters. You have to play this in green-blue. We know now that the dual ink characters are limited to the colors that they're representing on the picture right there. But I can already see worlds where you play Tipo on turn 2, and then the next turn you can shift this Baymax on top of Tipo. He's a 6-cost character, so you can immediately sing How Far I'll Go, and then you can also utilize that for extra numbers on the board for stuff like Under the Sea. He's a 5 strength, 5 willpower character, so that's really strong to play, I think, on turn 4. Overall, this is kind of cool. It lets you shift onto anything. So there's also a world where you can combo this off with Bucky, because Bucky is an emerald card that needs its shift ability to trigger, right? But there's already some cool combos with this that are coming out, like this Hiro Hamada Future Champion. 3-cost inkable character with 3 strength, 3 willpower, has an ability that says when you play a Floodborn character on this card, draw a card. So you see how this is worded? They worded this in a way where it implies that there's going to be a Floodborn hero, but then they give us that universal Floodborn Baymax right there. So you can shift this Baymax on top of the hero, and you still get to draw a card. Really cool, and I still hope they give us a Floodborn hero. Hiro Hamada as a Floodborn would be awesome. I would love to see what kind of powers they give him in the realm of Lorcana. Mushu has finally hit the building. Congratulations, all my Mushu and Mulan enjoyers. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for Mushu to enter the game for the longest time, is what it feels like. Because they announced Mulan, or they gave us Mulan cards since set 1, and we haven't seen Mushu yet, right? So we have a Ruby Steel Mushu, which means you can only play it in red silver over here. Majestic Dragon, 4 strength, 4 willpower. Whenever one of your characters challenges, they gain resist +2 during that challenge. So it's only during the the challenge. Remember that. So after the challenge on the following turn, they no longer have that resist +2. Has another ability that says during your turn, whenever one of your characters banishes another character in a challenge, gain 2 lore. So now your Calhouns will gain 4 lore if they banish a character in a challenge, or your Robin Hoods will give you 4 lore if you banish a character in a challenge. So some pretty cool synergy there with the steel ability to already gain lore when banishing characters in a challenge, and it does have that Ruby synergy there as well, because you're going to want to combo this off with maybe cards like Fan the Flames, which lets you challenge multiple times. There might be scenarios where your opponent leaves cards exerted, and then you can play this Mushu with whatever characters you have on board and just start gaining some extra lore. That extra little boost of resist there too, that's pretty cool, because it means that your characters like Sami will survive challenges into like 4 strength characters or 3 strength characters and stuff like that. So a lot of potential with this Mushu, I think. We got a new Archimedes, the Extraordinary Owl. This is a Amethyst character, 2-cost inkable Amethyst character that says, the more you know. Every time this character is chosen by an opposing player's action or ability, you may draw a card. So I guess it has to be an opposing character's action or ability. I thought it was its own. I thought it could be yours. That'd be really cool, because that means if I just use something like Improvise on it, then I would get to draw an extra card. But I guess it has to be the opposing characters. So it's not the opposing player's ability. So it's not my favorite, because for the most part, this card is just going to get challenged immediately. You know what I mean? I don't see anybody using an action or ability on this Archimedes. Doesn't seem necessary. But if it ends up being, the translation ends up being wrong, and you could do it yourself, then that card will be really good. We have some more vanillas like Aquila, the Wolfpack Elder over here. Not too shabby. It's a 2-cost inkable character, 3 strength, 2 willpower. Another vanilla here, King Stefan, the new father. King Stefan, however you want to pronounce it. 5-cost inkable character, 4 strength, 7 willpower. That's a very good stat line. That's really good stats for a 5-cost character. Doesn't lose to Brawl, doesn't lose to Medusa. Do Ice Block, it'll survive. 7 willpower is also very strong. Doesn't lose to Maui, doesn't lose to Scar. Only quest for 1 though, so a very, very fair card, and fair and balanced card there. Next up, this is a Matchmaker, a Ruby 4-cost inkable, 4 strength, 3 willpower. Whenever this character challenges another character, each opponent loses 1 lore. Okay, some more ways for Ruby to utilize the ability to make your opponent lose lore. There's not a lot of lifesteal in this game, so anytime they release cards like this that'll make your opponent lose lore, like Pirate's Life, you gotta think about them for a sec. 4-4-3 is not a bad stat line either. That 4 cost is kind of heavy for that ability though. This is kind of neat for any aggro enjoyers. I feel like you can play this in an aggro deck, right? This is Toby, the dog, the companion. A 1-cost uninkable character with 3 strength and 1 willpower. Pretty cool. Can quest for 1 too. If you ever just wanted to have that 3 strength ready to go on turn 1, and Ruby players, now you have this Toby, which is kind of nice. Before, Moana was kind of the character you wanted, but unfortunately you can't challenge with that Moana unless you have a captain. But so you can use Moana to turn off Flynn, but you could use Toby to challenge later on if you need to. Next up, we have King of Hearts, the Picky Ruler. This is an Emerald 4-cost uninkable character. Has an ability, Unacceptable Conditions. Damaged characters cannot challenge your characters. Very cool, very interesting. Can quest for 2. Damaged characters cannot challenge your characters. I like that it's uninkable, because if it wasn't, I think it'd be broken. Has very good stats for this kind of card ability. 3-3, which makes it kind of hard to get rid of on the board without trading something. But not too bad. Oftentimes, your opponent's going to have some damaged characters, and if one of them is a Maui Half Shark, maybe it'll save your tail from getting challenged by that half shark, right? You can go fire the cannons on the half shark, and then boom, they can no longer challenge your characters if you have that up. Sapphire players, you got a new Tamatoa. That is unfair. This is crazy. This is a 6-cost inkable Tamatoa legendary. I love the artwork on this, by the way. You can see the bubbles kind of leaving the borders of the card and kind of entering the sapphire right there. Tamatoa, happy as a clam. 6-cost inkable, 4 strength, 5 willpower. That says when you play this character, return up to 2 item cards from your discard to your hand. He can quest for 2 and has an ability that says whenever this character quests, you may play an item for free. That is broken. That is unfair. Now, if you have like the perfect curve of Flavor Sham into this card, you're gonna have some free popsicles in the discard pile more than likely. This is awesome if you're a Sapphire enjoyer. But if you're tired of seeing Sapphire run rampant in the meta, I don't think that's gonna go away anytime soon. Both Sapphire legendaries were revealed actually already. This is Scrooge McDuck, the resourceful miser. Check this out. The books are leaving the edge of the border. That's cool. He's a 4-cost inkable character, 4 strength, 4 willpower. You may exert 4 items of yours to play this character for free. That's kind of interesting, because if you just have popsicles and ice blocks, then you're not using them. You can just play this character for free to gain some free tempo. But it does have a nice ability that says when you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. you may reveal an item card and put one of those into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So it's like an aerial for items in Sapphire now. It's a 4 cost 4/4, so that's just good stats right there. And on turn 4, sometimes you don't have Grandma, sometimes you don't got Flavor Sham, sometimes you really need an item for your Flavor Sham, and now this Scrooge McDuck might get you that item. Speaking of items, a new Ruby item, a 2 cost inkable Devil's Eye Diamond, has an ability that says Exert. If one of your characters was damaged this turn, gain 1 lore. Very interesting. Not too bad. There's a world where you can fire the cannons your own character, gain a lore, or you can run a character into your opponent's character, gain a lore. Very interesting. It looks like it's only one time though, because you have to exert it. So, not the best ability in my opinion. It feels like a slower version of the spell book from Amethyst. This is Kakamora, the Band of Pirates, a steel pirate character, 4 cost, inkable with 1 strength and 6 willpower. It has an ability that says, while you have another pirate character in play, this character gains Challenger +3. Needing to have that other pirate character in play just to give a 4 cost character challenger seems like a hefty cost. Seems like way too much just for that ability. Not my favorite card, especially when it's just a sitting Sisu Daring Visitor target or Brawl target or Sisu target, however you want to look at it. Next up, we got Clarabelle. This Clarabelle is the Sapphire Clarabelle, the Journalist. Love to see this. Clarabelle Journalist, a 4 cost inkable in Sapphire with 3 strength, 3 willpower, can quest for 2. She has support, so she'll give all your characters, she'll be able to give one of your characters some extra strength, and has another ability that says your other characters with support gain +1 lore. So if you have a support heavy deck, which I have been seeing in some Amber Ruby combinations, this Clarabelle Journalist has that potential to give them extra lore. There's also a world where you play blue green and you have a 4 cost Clarabelle that you can shift next turn, because the Clarabelle Light on her hooves is a Floodborn shift 5 character. So it's a very good curve right there to play this Clarabelle on turn 4 into a Clarabelle, into the Emerald Clarabelle that can shift onto it, right? Next up, we got Glass Slipper. This is a 2 cost inkable. Sorry, this is a 2 cost uninkable item in Amber and has an ability that says the perfect pair. You may only have a maximum copies of 2 Glass Slippers in your deck. So that's very interesting. A card that is already like semi-limited upon its release, and in its card text telling you can only play 2 of these in your deck, guys. Remember that. Then has an extra ability that says banish this item. Exert one of your prince characters, search your deck for a princess character card, and reveal it to all the players. Put the card in your hand, then shuffle it in your deck. And by all players, it obviously means you and your opponent, not every player in the room. But still, that's a princess tutor, for any people who use the magic term, but basically lets you look up search princess cards, which is really nice. But I can see why they limited that ability to only 2 in a deck. I feel like you can abuse that constantly throughout the game if you have 4 of those in your deck. We have Mariano Guzman. This is a character. It says if you have the Lotus Madrigal on board, then this character gains an extra lore. It's a 3 cost Amber character, inkable 3/4. Not too good in my opinion in terms of competitive play, but it is kind of interesting to see every character from from the movie Encanto get added into Lorcana, because I didn't expect the suitor the suitor from the neighbor to be in Lorcana. That's very interesting. We have Peg, the natural performer here. This is a Amber Emerald card. Very nice. A 3 cost inkable card that says if you have 3 or more characters in play, draw a card, and you have to exert her to do that ability. So you can set up some early curves of like turn 1 Daisy, turn 2 Piglet, turn 3 Peg, and then turn 4 you play more characters, so that when you do exert this Peg you can draw a card. It is kind of a hefty cost, I think, to need to have 3 characters just to draw a card, and you don't get to quest when you trigger that ability. I would hope that it was when you quest with her you get both the lore and the draw, but having to choose is kind of rough, right? But it's still pretty cool. Some extra draw engine for any Emerald Amber aggro players. I do feel like the 3 cost Clarabelle is just a little better because it does give you the draw on play. This is Panic, the high-strung imp. This is a 4 cost, inkable, 2 strength, 3 willpower character that says when you play this character, you may move up to 2 damage counters from chosen character to chosen opposing character. Very nice. It's kind of like a Bell Accomplished Mystic ability, which will let you move around damage counters, but it is a later game card in my opinion, so it's not my favorite. Check out this Jafar, some more Jafar synergy, fellow Jafar enjoyers. A 3 cost, inkable, 3 strength, 2 willpower that can quest for 2. When you play this character, chosen character gains Challenger +2 this turn. Nothing too extraordinary. I do like the artwork though. He's right here. It looks like he's rebuilding the half Hexwell crown. And I do believe that in the following set, Jafar does gain the power. So here he is, stealing the power of the Illuminary from what it's looking like. Now we're getting to some of the cards that I'm sure you've heard about already. Ink Geyser, we talked about this on the Market Watch on Monday. A 3-cost uninkable card that says each player exerts all cards in their inkwell. Then each player with more than 3 cards in their inkwell returns cards at random from their inkwell to their hand until they have 3 cards in their inkwell. That effect is a mouthful. Basically, what it says is you play this card, we pick random cards until both of us only have 3 ink left. Very, very, very strong way to reset the game state is kind of what it feels like. A lot of the Sapphire decks tend to ramp to 7, 9, 10, 11 ink very, very quickly. And if you play this on them, they're going to have to go back down to 3, and they're going to have to play it at your pace again. There's a lot of cute combos I'm seeing people try already in their head, like with the Prince John's Mirror, because they're going to have a bunch of cards in their hand, maybe Clarabelle, maybe even more stuff that discards from the hand. You never know, but this card definitely has some potential. We have a Steel Bolt, 2-cost inkable, 1 strength, 3 willpower. Whenever this character quests, if he has no damage, you may draw a card, then choose to discard a card. Steel always gives us this ability that lets you draw a card and discard a card, but it's not very good. It's only good when it's on play, like the Simba from set 1, but to have a character, a 2-cost character that needs to do this when he quests and when he has no damage is just too much. But if you like Bolt, we have some more characters from that IP. Dr. Calico, the Green-Eyed Man. While this character has no damage, he gains resist +2. He's a 4-cost inkable, 3 strength, 4 willpower. Not too bad. If he quested for 2, he'd be a whole lot better. Some dual ink Sapphire Steel cards. Lady Cluck, Protective Confidant. 5-cost inkable character, 2 strength, 7 willpower. Has ward, so you can't brawl this card, and has bodyguard, so it's definitely going to be a threat on the field. I genuinely like this card. I feel like a lot of people were playing the Sapphire Steel Tempo aggro deck with the Alice Savvy Sailor, and I think this goes in that deck very well. A bunch of new friends, furry friends and pets are in this set. We have the Aristocrats, Marie, Favored Kitten, 2-cost inkable, 1 strength, 2 willpower. Whenever this character quests, you may give chosen character -2 strength this turn, and she quests for 2. I like questing for 2. That makes the ability possibly worth it. But it's only this turn, so it's really going to be used if you have a way to clear the opposing character. It does not last until the next turn, unfortunately. They gave us Toulouse. They gave us Toulouse. We got Edgar Balthazar, 5-cost inkable, 6 strength, 5 willpower, can quest for 1. Not too shabby, I guess, for a 5-cost character. I feel like if you go just in time, you can play this on turn 5, and it's a hefty body. It's like Card Soldiers, but a little bit better because of that 6 strength, and but it doesn't quest for 2 though. Maybe the 6 strength might be relevant in the future. Deny. This is another dual ink Ruby Steel character. 3 strength, 2 willpower, cost 3, and is inkable. Reckless, resist +2. Not too shabby, means it has to challenge if it can. Does not have rush, so it can't challenge on the first turn, but when it does challenge, it does have that extra little bit of resist. Some new Emerald songs. He's a Tramp, an action song, 1-cost inkable that says chosen character gains +1 strength this turn for each character you have in play. A very simple effect. Would be amazing if that you draw a card as well, but outside of that, it's not that good in my opinion. Just giving some extra strength, and it's very dependent on how many characters you have. Some characters from Lady and the Tramp, if I'm not mistaken. Duchess, the Elegant Feline, 2-cost inkable, 3 strength, 2 willpower, and can quest for 1. The one and only Tramp, the Enterprising Dog, 2-cost inkable, a 1 strength, 3 willpower stat line, has an ability that says if you have a character named Lady in play, you pay 1 ink less to play this character, so you can play this for 1 ink if you already have Lady on board, and then it says when you play this character, chosen character of yours gets +1 strength this turn for each other character you have in play. Okay, so it's basically the He's a Tramp song, but on this character. So it's not, again, not my favorite ability to be able to just gain a bunch of strength depending on what kind of characters you have on board, because I feel like Emerald isn't really known for that, right? Whenever I'm playing Emerald decks, I don't really think, how do I get value trades with my characters? It's usually like an Amethyst trade. So I thought this would be more of like an Amethyst ability. Okay, they just want you guys to play Pirates because they gave us a dual ink Emerald Steel Mr. Smee, a 3-cost uninkable 3/3 character that says when you play an action that isn't a song, you may ready chosen pirate character. Not my favorite ability, but readying a chosen pirate character means you can challenge twice with your pirate characters if you have actions like that, right? Here's the lady that you can combo off with your Tramp, a 1-cost uninkable Emerald card, the Elegant Spaniel, 1 strength, 2 willpower that says, while you have a character named Tramp in play, this character gets +1 lore. So she will quest for 2 when you play the Tramp on turn 2. Not too bad, but uninkable, is it worth it? Not my favorite. See, but that's what I'm talking about. They kind of gave Lady an aggressive kind of strategy by having more lore when Tramp is in play, but they gave Tramp a more a more tempo kind of long-term strategy of boosting your characters for value trades. So it doesn't make sense to me. They gave us Berlioz, the mischievous kitten, 3 cost inkable, 2 strength, 5 willpower, and quest for 1. Here's some more dual ink action for you. A yokai, 2 cost inkable character, 1 strength, 2 willpower. Has an ability that says you pay 1 less to play characters using their shift ability. So it lets you shift an extra turn earlier if you have this character on board. That's kind of interesting. I can't really think of any like crazy Floodborne characters in this color combo that would want to shift that much earlier. But you guys let me know what you guys think. Maybe there's something I'm missing with this card. Oh, and in the artwork, you can actually see the Baymax bot in the artwork right there. That's so cool because we didn't have the Baymax card revealed yet. And then now that I'm looking at this like a day after, you can see the Baymax bot, the Universal Shift character right there. Wow. Check out this Mad Hatter though, a green-red dual ink character, 6 cost inkable character, 3 strength, 5 willpower, the Unruly Eccentric. Whenever a damaged character challenges another character, you may draw a card. Sorry, whenever a damaged character challenges another character, you may draw a card. And quest for 2. So I like that ability of needing a damaged character to challenge another character. It works with Mulan, works with Mother Gothel, you know. Lets you draw some cards, which is always good for this color combo because green-red really isn't known in the meta very well, and I feel like it's because there's not a good draw engine. I love the artwork for this card, though. Love the artwork for this card. I hope they have some full arts that aren't enchanted rare so they're easier to pull or easier to acquire because the artwork on this card is insanely cool. We're almost done, I swear. And if you made it this far, thank you so much, my Lorcana Goons. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. You've already made it this far. Thomas O'Malley, the Feline Charmer. 3 cost inkable character. 4 strength. 2 willpower. Has ward. Quest for 1. Not my favorite card. If you are playing maybe a green-blue aggro deck, you have a character that, will kind of guarantee you 1 lore and is going to stay on the board. But that 4 strength really just is going to get eaten up by a Lawrence. That 2 willpower gets eaten up by Calhoun. It does get some good trades going on, though. But I feel like this Aristocrats kind of thing they got going on is really just meant to kind of be more of a starter deck kind of vibe. Mufasa, the Mufasa Among the Stars. This is a 7 cost inkable character, 5 strength, 7 willpower. Very strong. It's a Floodborn, a shift 5, so you can shift this on turn 5. Has evasive and has resist +1 and can quest for 2. That's a gnarly combo. Evasive and resist and questing for 2. That's really, really strong. I hope they give us some good Mufasa shift targets and then not just some like super like basic ones. Kusco, the Panicked Llama. This is another dual ink card for green-purple. 4 cost, uninkable, 2/2 stat line with evasive. Can quest for 2 and has one of these abilities. At the start of your turn, choose one. Each player draws a card. Each player chooses and discards a card. Not my favorite card. Very unfortunate. It feels borderline unplayable just because of the stat line and because it's uninkable. I think if it was inkable, maybe you could play this card, but it's just not my favorite. By the way, this is all in terms of like competitive tournament play. I'm sure if you guys are playing Pack Rush, you guys are playing with your homies, play whatever the heck you want. These cards are fun. Raja, this is a character that this is an illusion character. This is one of the new archetypes in Lorcana, I guess. Vanish is a new mechanic as well. Raja, the Ghostly Tiger, 2 cost, inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower. Vanish has an ability that says when an opponent chooses this character for an action, banish them. So if your opponent chooses your illusion character with any action, they're going to get banished after that resolves. But the point of this is that this is an overstated 2 cost character. At 2 cost, having 3/3 as your stat line is very good. Unfortunately, it just makes me feel like I want to play Fire the Cannons even more now because I can Fire the Cannons it's only going to deal 2 damage. It'll survive the Fire the Cannons, but because I vanish, it will get banished after that. Here's another illusion character, the Giant Cobra Ghostly Serpent. We have Jafar in the background there. A 3 cost inkable character, 4 strength, 4 willpower that has vanish and also says when you play this character, you may choose and discard a card to gain 2 lore. So one of my fears with vanish characters is that they're going to be very strong when they enter play, what they have with their abilities, So like I said, this card does have vanish, so it is susceptible to getting shot down by a Fire the Cannons, but has a good ability when you play it. So you're going to get the value off of it immediately. So if you have multiple docks in your hand, or if you ever have like cards in your hand that you didn't want, uninkables for example, then you can utilize this to gain 2 lore, which is very nice. But yeah, Giant Cobra, I think this is probably one of my favorite cards released so far because there's not that much for Ruby Amethyst has been released that I'm super excited for. But Amethyst Steel getting some bangers. Speaking of Ruby Amethyst, Hades Fast Talker, not my favorite. It's okay. I don't like that it needs to banish a 3 cost or less. In order to do that, you need to deal 2 damage to one of your chosen characters, and it only happens when you play this character. He does have a good stat line though, 4 strength, 6 willpower, can quest for 2, but being a 6 cost uninkable in this meta, bro, like you have to be better than Tremaine and Medusa, like infinitely better than them for me to even consider you, and this is not better than those. Like, how is this card not better than Tremaine or Medusa? And it's a dual ink. You're limiting this card to be played in other decks, and it's not even better than the Ruby cards. Restoring the Heart is an interesting card. I think this could be like really broken in the future. It's a one cost action that says remove up to 3 damage from chosen character or location, then you draw a card. There's a Rapunzel that lets you draw a card whenever something else is healed, and then there's also cards like Grandpappy which let you gain lore whenever something is healed. So I like cards like these because we have a heal and draw that's really cheap, and it's dual ink, so you can only use it in certain color combos like blue yellow. Dual Ink Perla, evasive support, 3 cost inkable character, 3 strength, 2 willpower. That's it. Very nice, because it has like a good stat line in evasive. But I don't feel like support is like the best mechanic in Lorcana, so I don't feel like it adds too much to the metagame here. Calhoun, the Goon Courageous Rescuer. 6 cost inkable. This is a big Calhoun. Very interesting. 5 strength, 5 willpower, shift 4. Has an ability that says whenever this character challenges another character, you may return a racer card from your discard to your hand. And it quests for 2. So unfortunately, it's only when it challenges another character. It will only happen if your opponent's exerting. So if you play this character without shifting, then your opponent can just not exert their characters. They cannot quest. You can shift this onto a Calhoun, which is kind of cool. I feel like we only have the steel Calhoun, right? So I imagine they're going to release more Calhouns very soon, and maybe yellow or red, so that we can shift this character and catch our opponent off guard to actually trigger this ability. This one's really cute. Spaghetti Dinner. This is a 2-cost uninkable item. It has an ability that says exert, pay 1 ink. If you have 2 or more characters in play, gain 1 lore. So it's a high cost version of Spellbook is what it kind of feels like. High cost, I say, because you need to have 2 characters in play every time you want to trigger this. You can't just play it whenever you want. But it's pretty nice to have more ways to just trigger extra lore gain in the Amber package, because I know a lot of hyper aggro Amber players that are going to really enjoy this Spaghetti Dinner. Can you imagine if they gave us a Spaghetti Dinner Enchanted Rare? I would actually be down for that. I mean, it can't be any worse than the Enchanted Rare of Belle's House, right? We got Pascal. This is a dual ink for hyper aggro players, an uninkable 4-cost character, 3 strength, 3 willpower, has evasive, and can quest for 3. So a 4-cost that can quest for 3 and has evasive, that's really good. It's like a better version of Ray, but it is uninkable. Does limit you to be played in the Laker Nation hyper aggro deck is what it's looking like. This is so cool. We have Bolt, a 4-cost, inkable, dependable friend, 2 strength, 4 willpower with support, and quest for 2. Like I've been saying, support just isn't like the best thing in Lorcana, I think. So I feel like a lot of these cards are just like starter deck cards. They always do this. They're like, hey, let's make a bunch of support cards and just put them in the starter decks, guys. But you can shift your Bolt with this Bolt Super Dog. It's an Emerald Steel dual ink, so you can only play this with Amber Steel. Sorry, Amber Steel dual ink. Shift 3, which is really nice. 5-cost character, so you can obviously sing Whole New World immediately. Has an ability that says exert, banish chosen illusion character. So this is kind of neat. If illusions become really meta relevant, then this Bolt's going to be pretty good because it's just an instant out to illusions. And also has another ability. Whenever you ready this character, gain 1 lore for each other undamaged character you have in play. So sometimes Amber Steel already feels like an aggro deck, and this Bolt feels kind of aggressive there for that. The Troubadour, an Amber Steel dual ink character, 2-cost inkable, 1 strength, 3 willpower, resist +1, and singer 4. Basically an Ursula Vanessa, but worse in my opinion. I think Ursula Vanessa having that 4 willpower instead of resist +1 is a whole lot better than the Troubadour, and Ursula Vanessa is also like a queen, I think, or something. My cat's name is Mittens, the sassy street cat over here. 5-cost uninkable, 4 strength, 5 willpower with bodyguard. Pretty nice right there. Can quest for 2 as well, and says once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, your other characters with bodyguard gain +1 lore this turn. So it's only once per turn. You cannot abuse this with Sapphire, but this is a cool way to give your bodyguard character some extra lore. Maybe your Baloo, maybe your Donald Duck, or maybe you're using that Bolt song from earlier and you're creating bodyguard characters and you're comboing it off with your Mittens. So now they quest for even more. But my favorite combo is probably the Pluto Guard Dog. Ooh, that Pluto Guard Dog is huge. He comes in with 5 strength and 5 willpower, and you can make him quest for 2 with this kitten, with his Mittens, after as a follow-up. We've seen this card already from like weeks ago. Sven, the Keen-Eyed Reindeer, 5-cost, 2 strength, 6 willpower with Rush. Has an ability that says when you play this character, chosen character gets a -3 strength this turn. Not too shabby. I don't really see it being played in the meta though, but it's a very fair and balanced card. So far, Lady seems like the first dual ink yellow-green card that I want to try out, at least. For yellow ink dual inks, this is a very good one. 5-cost inkable, shift 3. So we saw the uninkable 1-cost Lady. Unfortunate that she's uninkable, but you can shift this on turn 3. 4 strength, 4 willpower, can quest for 2. That's very strong. When you play this character, you may return up to 2 character cards from your discard to your hand that cost 2 or less. So it's not the best if you play it on turn 3, because odds are you're not going to have 2 2 characters in your discard pile if you're shifting this, but later on in the game, you're going to be able to utilize that very effectively. And it's whenever you play this character, it's not just when you used shit to play her like some of these other abilities. So it'll happen if you play her for 5 ink or if you shifted her for 3 as well. The Dual Ink Beast is borderline unplayable. 6 cost, uninkable, 5/5 that can quest for 2. Exert, pay 2 ink, banish 2 of your items, deal 5 damage to chosen character. Wow, that is such a big cost just to say have Dragonfire, just to have a Dragonfire ability. This card is buns. Don't even try to play this card in your deck. But you should try to play this card in your deck. We have a new Jafar, was also announced already. This comes in the starter deck. A 4-cost, inkable, 2 strength, 4 willpower. During an opponent's turn, whenever one of your illusion characters is banished, you may return that card to your hand. And a quest for 2. So, like I was saying, the illusion characters, they get shot down pretty easily by anything like fire the cannons, improvise any actions. If you have this Jafar, though, it will generate you that extra advantage to give you those illusion cards back to your hand. Maybe you don't play them immediately again, but maybe you just use them for ink the next turn, which is still really good. Speaking of illusions, big illusion Iago over here, the giant spectral parrot, a 4-cost, inkable, 4 strength, 6 willpower. He has evasive and vanish. Evasive is pretty good because this will contest a genie right off the bat, but has vanish too. So like we were saying, if you target it with any actions, it just leaves the board. And last but not least, Bell Mechanic Extraordinaire. This card seems kind of okay. A 9-cost inkable, a dual ink red-blue character, 7 strength, 7 willpower. For each item in your discard, you pay 1 less to play this character using her shift ability. She's a shift 7, so yeah, you only get it for the shift ability. So if you don't shift her, you have to still pay 9 ink. Very unfortunate. Whenever this character quests, you may put up to 3 item cards from your discard to the bottom of your deck. Gain lore for each one of those items put there. It's okay. It's such a heavy cost for that kind of ability. You have to pay 9. It has to survive the board, and then you have to quest, and you still have to have 3 items on the in the discard. So it's not my favorite. Very, very slow in my opinion. And of course, while we're recording this, 3 new cards came out. We have a new vanilla Akoda that was just announced. A 3-cost inkable character, 2 strength, 2 willpower, and can quest for 3. Okay, this is pretty cool. Vanilla quest for 3 in Amber that's inkable. That's actually really nice. I feel like this might make aggro decks like really strong. Wow. Okay, love to see it. Love to see it. We have a new Amber character, Candlehead. This is a 2-cost inkable character that says, when this character is banished, you may remove up to 2 damage from a character of your choice. You can heal your own character, heal the opponent's character for whatever reason. It's a racer as well, so this is going to go along with some racer synergy in your decks if you guys are planning to play like a racer style deck in Ruby Amber. And last but not least, we have a new Mufasa, the Respected King. I was talking about this with the Purple Steel Mufasa. I hope they give us some good Mufasa shift targets, and they gave us 1. I don't know if it's good. It's a 4-cost inkable 4/4 that can quest for 1. That's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy there. But that's going to be all the reveals we have so far as I'm recording this video on Wednesday the 12th. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to support the Lorcana Goons channel. And if you want to be a member of the Goon Squad community, links are in the description below to support and to join our Discord. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think of all the cards we talked about very briefly in the comments below. I want to hear your guys' opinions. Maybe there's some comments I'm not seeing, or maybe even leave some of your deck building ideas in our Discord. But until then, my Lorcana Goons, stay tuned to Lorcana Goons, and we will see you goons next time.